On a summer evening in 1989, a woman walked out of a bowling alley in southwest Oklahoma City. She had just argued with someone she once trusted. She crossed a parking lot. And then, without witnesses, without a recorded goodbye, she disappeared. For more than 30 years, her name would not be publicly attached to what happened next. She would exist instead as an unidentified case, a skull found near a creek, partial remains recovered miles from where she was last seen, and questions that could not yet be answered. In 2025, modern forensic science changed that. The unidentified woman found along an Oklahoma creek was finally identified as Joann Marie Rozelle. This is the confirmed investigative record of her disappearance, the discovery of her remains, and the long road to restoring her identity.
Welcome to Case Files of the Missing, where the search for answers does not end with time. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Joann Marie Rozelle was a wife and a mother. She had given birth at least once, a detail later confirmed through forensic analysis. At different points in her life, she was also known to have used the name Joanna Marie Silva, a factor that would later complicate efforts to connect her to missing persons records. Joann divorced her husband in 1985, 4 years before she vanished. Despite the legal separation, the two remained connected, a connection that would place him at the center of the last confirmed sighting. Joann was last seen in June 1989 outside Meridian Lanes Bowling Center in southwest Oklahoma City. Records and reporting differ slightly on the exact date, citing June 10 and June 14, 1989, but all sources agree on the location and circumstances. That evening, Joann had been inside the bowling alley. She became involved in a heated argument with her ex-husband. She exited the building and entered the parking lot. That parking lot is where she was last seen alive. There are no confirmed witnesses who saw where she went next. No verified account of a vehicle she entered. No record of a planned destination. 4 days later, when Joann had not returned or made contact, her grandmother reported her missing. Despite the missing person report, Joann's case did not immediately generate answers. She had no confirmed travel plans. No known financial activity afterward. No verified sightings. Years passed. In 2003, with no information and no resolution, Joann's son had her declared legally deceased, a procedural step that did not mean answers had been found. Only that time had forced a legal acknowledgement of her absence. Unbeknownst to her family, parts of that answer had already been discovered. In January 1990, roughly 1 year after Joann disappeared, a human skull was discovered along the banks of a creek in Canadian County, Oklahoma. The location was specific, along Oklahoma State Highway 66, near the Cherokee truck stop, between the towns of Geary and El Reno. Approximately 1 mile north of Interstate 40, about 2 miles east of U.S. Route 281. The Canadian County Sheriff's Office responded. A thorough search of the surrounding area followed. Investigators recovered additional skeletal remains, ultimately amounting to approximately half of a skeleton scattered within the creek and nearby terrain. The remains were determined to belong to a white adult woman, estimated to be between 18 and 35 years old and deceased for months or possibly years. The body was incomplete. That fact alone suggested that something intentional had occurred. During the recovery, investigators located several items in the area, though none could be conclusively linked at the time. Those items included light tan Chouse brand slacks, size 9-10, with a pleated front. A belt with a gold buckle and tan leather tips, size 28. A white collared shirt, a white baseball-style cap. A gold ring featuring a filigree heart design. Despite these discoveries, the advanced decomposition and limited forensic capabilities of the era prevented a definitive identification. DNA profiling existed in 1990, but it was in its infancy. Early attempts produced no usable match, and processing errors further hindered progress. The case went cold. For years, the unidentified remains were revisited periodically. Investigators noted biological characteristics. Dark hair, likely brown, probable right-handedness. Evidence of at least one prior childbirth. Still, no name could be attached. In 2010, the case was officially entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs, as UP6554, ensuring it remained accessible to future investigations. And then, for more than a decade, nothing changed. In 2023, The Canadian County Sheriff's Office and the Oklahoma Office of the Chief Medical Examiner partnered with Othram, a laboratory specializing in forensic genetic genealogy. Despite the degraded condition of the evidence, scientists successfully extracted DNA and used forensic-grade genome sequencing to develop a comprehensive genetic profile. That profile was then analyzed through genealogical databases, allowing researchers to identify potential family connections, even without a prior missing persons match. Investigators followed those leads. Reference DNA samples were collected from a relative. The comparison confirmed it. In 2025, more than 35 years after her disappearance, the unidentified woman found along an Oklahoma creek was formally identified as Joann Marie Rozelle. She was 29 years old when she went missing. Authorities notified her family, including her mother and siblings, who had lived for decades without knowing what became of her. For them, the identification brought grief, but also long-delayed clarity. They could finally lay her to rest. With Joann's identity confirmed, the case has entered a new phase. Canadian county investigators have stated that the condition and location of the remains strongly suggest intentional harm, and that the individual responsible likely knew Joann personally. Investigators are now retracing her movements before leaving Meridian Lanes, her relationships at the time, any conflicts or vulnerabilities that may have placed her at risk. As one investigator noted, these cases rarely involve strangers hiding in the shadows. They more often involve someone familiar. Joann Marie Rozelle was missing for decades, but she was not forgotten. Her case illustrates how many individuals disappear without immediate answers, not because they did not matter, but because the tools to find those answers did not yet exist. Her identification stands as proof that time does not erase responsibility. It only delays resolution. For years, Joann was known only as partial remains near a creek. Today, she has her name back. Her life is no longer an unidentified file number. Her story is no longer anonymous. And while many questions remain unanswered, one truth is now beyond dispute. Joann Marie Rozelle was here. She mattered. And she is no longer unknown. If you have factual, documented information related to Joann Marie Rozelle's disappearance or death, contact the Oklahoma City Police at 405-297-1197. Sometimes, justice does not begin with certainty, but with finally knowing who someone was. Thank you for watching Case Files of the Missing, where the search for answers does not end with time. Please like, comment, and subscribe.